Debate Podcast. I'm your host this week, Paige. So again, it's a debate podcast. It gives us the opportunity to argue both sides of a topic. The kick is you might be arguing from a side that goes against your personal opinion or beliefs. So this week, who do we have on?
Hey, it's Kristy.
Hey, Lindsey.
Alanna.
This is Alex.
Beans here.
Tianny in the house.
All right, and so
How was your week? What's been going on?
I got a baby on the way, y'all.
Woo!
Hey.
Wait, you're pregnant.
Okay, it's not my baby.
Oh.
The nephew's on the way. My sister
The
is
nephew.
presently in the hospital
Hey,
Nephew.
waiting on the child.
another
So
baby bison.
Have they started the induction process?
They have. She is 6 centimeters dilated, whatever that means.
Oh, good. Tell her
And
to
high
go
as a
get
kite
the
too.
door.
She got a fentanyl button. She high as a kite right now.
Oh, she got fit.
So
That's good.
So does Alex's nephew and Chrissy's nephew still count as HSC babies? I feel like they do, right?
Yeah.
they're
We
close
got 4 HSC
They
babies.
cousins. They cousins.
They could be a cousin.
Everybody got extended family.
Yeah.
Gloria's still first lady, and
Yeah, because I'll be
and Rose is the nephew. I mean, no, he's the prince. Prince of HSC.
Nephew.
How you went from first lady
to nephew.
Alanna
Rose
stand up
ain't
for
got
your
no
child
status.
because she's trying to drag him.
I said
She
he's
ain't
the
say princess, king, queen.
He's
She
the
just
prince.
She
first lady and that other baby. That's what she's
just trying to
saying.
get
Hey.
Rose is King Baby HSC and Glow is Queen Baby HSC.
Okay. And Paige, I thought you were gonna give us a little gospel inspiration or something.
Oh, for this today
Why
is
did you think that?
the
Oh, right. I forgot. It's Palm Sunday.
Blessed be the rock of my salvation.
I mean, I know it's the pandemic and all, but I mean, this is still real.
Blessed be the rock. Blessed be the rock of my salvation.
I'm sure we all sound off.
Oh.
I'm certain it's gonna sound
The
terrible.
clapping is
Let me get my
all-
palm.
This is the
Do the
tambourine.
Jumba.
It is Palm Sunday though, isn't it?
It is Palm Sunday.
Hey.
That is not a
That ain't no
What is
palm.
Palm Sunday?
Was that a palm? No.
It was close enough.
It was
It was
over
great.
there.
It was a succulent.
It was not a succulent.
All I gotta hear is bamboo, so I gotta.
I do want to acknowledge the fact that where we were last year at this time, we were planning a cooking experiment where we were going to cook this Easter dish. You remember when everybody got their lamb?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Kind of like really talking to each other every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that was a year ago.
We were in the
Right. I was like, was that really a year ago?
it surely was.
Just Sunday dinner.
Yes.
Wow. Look, you know, in the midst of the terribleness that is COVID, like we've said before, I have seen y'all's faces more in the past year than I have ever seen y'all's faces. Like, even in college, I don't think I saw y'all.
A year ago
Yes.
today. A year ago today. Well, a year and a week ago, I found out I was pregnant.
Very
Even though
pregnant.
we knew Tena was, mind you, Rose and Gloria are a week apart, and we knew Tena was pregnant how long before?
We knew you was pregnant too. You didn't know you was pregnant.
You ain't know I
Yeah,
was
Tina had announced her pregnancy like weeks before.
right.
And then Alanna pops up like, oh, me too. And
Hey,
No,
guys.
about that.
Look at my toddler.
Like, hey, y'all, I'm 12 weeks pregnant.
The baby had fully formed.
Alana had a
Fully
toddler in her
formed.
room talking about, I just found out I was pregnant.
And was deeply shocked that she was pregnant. That was the kicker. And that's what really pissed me
Talking
off.
about
We
I
all
thought
looking
it
at
was
the
bad.
sonogram, but how, sweetie? How?
Man.
That's okay.
And then we discovered the beautiful app that is House Party.
House party.
And we've
Oh,
been looking at each other.
Oh, dog.
House Party was a game changer.
It was.
House party was a game changer.
Road stepping in the building.
Said what's up?
He said, how y'all gonna have a
King
visual
Boo.
Y'all
podcast?
gonna reminisce about me if I'm not even in the frame.
You're not showing us no love, Rose.
He's still occupied with his toy. He just didn't want to be in the chair.
She's like, but I'm gonna need you to hold me though.
Right. Basically.
Okay, sorry. And before we move on to the debate, and I don't want to spend too much time on this topic, but I would like, I know I'm not the host, Paige, I'm taking over your role for just 1 second. Give one word to describe the Derek Jackson situation.
Oh.
Was that your word, Paige?
Oh. I'm gonna go with embarrassing.
That's a good one.
I want to go with hypocrisy.
My word's gonna be audacity, because like what? Audacity.
My word is gonna be audacity, because the audacity just doesn't describe it enough.
It's deeper than audacity.
Oh,
It's
audacity.
You're right. It's deeper than audacity. Like damn.
It's deeper than audacity.
Audacity.
We're just gonna say disrespect.
I don't have one word. I'll be damned. My phrase, okay? I'll be damned.
What's the third
Lindsey,
person?
what's your word?
Clown.
You know what, Lindsay? That sums it all up. Clown. Just
No, I think it
of
should be
President
clowns. Okay, because we got more than one
Right.
clown in this situation.
Right.
Y'all
That was a good
Wow.
question.
I just
All right.
want us as a people to stop letting these people embarrass y'all on national social media and all these things. Stop letting these folks embarrass y'all.
The key rule: you do not have to respond to everything.
You don't.
We do not have to
And you
respond
don't have
to
to
everything.
put everything on Instagram. Stop.
Right. Everything is not everybody's business.
Right.
Also, you should probably never, ever, ever put yourself on a pedestal. And if we
Or
just
anyone else for that matter.
yes,
Well, he
and
said he didn't do that. He said we did that to him.
Who is we?
I just want to let y'all know that these earrings in my ear are the shackles that have been kicked off of my
Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance.
Oh,
You see earrings, I see broken shackles.
Great.
Oh,
What did she
Okay.
call the hat? What did she call the hat?
A bonnet of salvation.
The bonnet of salvation. Father
All
God.
right.
You see a fake gold chain. I see the liberty of Jesus.
That ain't my
Okay.
God. That is not my God. I don't know who you talk to.
leave that lady alone. Leave that lady alone.
Okay.
Just the fact that he had to
Prayers,
come
though.
back in the comments talk about it's not a bonnet, it's a hat.
So it doesn't make it
Nobody
okay.
you.
But he wrote that with the laughing emoji, so you clowning her too.
You clowning her.
Right.
Clowning her too.
And perception is reality. Sir, that is a bonnet.
That's about it. That's about
That
it.
is
We
a
just
bonnet.
want to know, why did he grab her hand like that though? He was talking like with her hand in his hand, and it's just like, just let her go.
Why
Just
did he
release
talk
her.
in third person? That's what I'm saying.
It's the third person.
It was the third person.
He didn't do it. Derek Jackson did it.
So I know a lot of you all saw this video. I just wanted to speak on it. Derek Jackson, you know. That
Did
man.
any of you guys know who he was before?
I did.
this came
I
out?
did.
I didn't know.
Tianny said yes.
I unfollowed him many moons ago.
Long
just,
time ago, right?
just because it started off with like, oh, it was nice little inspirational stuff, and then he went to talking down to like you have to, I don't know, it went from being a positive thing to being like a negative preachy type thing, and I was like,
It's
no,
a
thank
lot of social media people who start off like with good inspirational, and then you like start feeling yourself, and it's like, okay, you went left. I don't know
Yeah,
what
he
happened.
did. And
But he's not a
he
preacher,
started
right?
preaching in the car. That was when he
In the car.
Listen,
Okay, but the word on the street is all them. I didn't watch the car videos, but all those car videos are apparently him recording in front of his mistress's house. Like she was
Yes,
like, if you see the
sir.
Oh, I
pillars
did
in the
see
back,
that. I did
the
see
white
that.
pillars, that's my house. That was
Yeah.
like,
yes.
That's
So
wild.
he was literally, because somebody said it in the chat, and I laughed, but he was literally either on his way to cheat or just coming
or just
from
had
cheating.
left from cheating.
Every video. Do you understand how crazy that is?
She was like, every video you see that white pillar in the background, that's my house.
But I feel like
again, word of the week,
what
audacity.
I feel like what it means is like every time he did something new and grimy, he was like, let me make sure I clear this up.
Yes.
He felt like he had a testimony.
Yeah.
He was preaching to himself. Yeah. Exactly.
That don't make no damn
sense. And I want people to know, because I've seen people comment like, oh, leave her alone. It's not the fact that he cheated or whatever happened, because things happen in relationships and yes, you move on. It's the fact that this man is clowning you on social media, bringing everything to the light. If you're going to move on, queen. Don't sit up there and say, I don't tolerate this. Yes, you do. It's okay. You do. It's okay.
And it's okay.
If that's what you choose to do, then do it.
But you make a video every day with your bonnet on of salvation, your body armor, like,
or her Steve Harvey pantsuit.
They clowned her for that. And let me tell you something. I tried my very best to laugh, but a chuckle slipped out. They talk about she looked like some old preacher, Creflo Dollar. They said she looked like Creflo Dollar standing on that tub. And I saw it and I hollered, but I caught myself. They don't do that. That ain't right.
But my thing is, like, you brought your wife there and you gripping her hand when you're defending yourself. Mm-hmm. But when she's getting dragged in these streets for her bonnet, she's making these weird videos by herself. Like, where are you holding her hand when she's trying to defend herself? And it's just like, now you're just not here to be found.
Probably still visiting mistress.
Mm-hmm. She's back at the other girl house. There are white pillars in the back of his next background. Boom.
Well, all right, guys. So moving on to this week's debate. All right, so this week's topic, do you or do you not tip when the service is a little questionable? So first up, we'll have Christy, who is going to be arguing the affirmative, that you should always tip. And then we're going to be following up with Lindsey, who is going against it, that you need to keep your coins. All right, so Christy, you're up first.
All right, so in researching this topic, I wanted to figure out about when this whole tipping culture even started. So what I found was that it's believed to come from European culture, like most of the things in the US does, leading up to the Civil War. And it's believed to enhance and grown after the Civil War around the time of the 15th Amendment, when us who were previously enslaved are now working service jobs and working for money. And it's believed to be, tipping was believed to be a means of paying employees less or not at all, and having their wages be supplemented by the generosity of the customers being serviced. This didn't help in around 1938, when the Fair Labor Standards Act also allowed minimum wage to be earned through tips themselves and not just the payment from the employer. So let's set it up. The weather's nice. You've been inside forever and decide, let's go out to eat. You and some friends go out, or you take your household, whatever. You go, you eat, dinner's finished. It's almost time to go. The check comes, and it's the infamous moment of how much is the proper amount to tip. So you start recollecting your entire experience to determine if it was tip worthy or not. And again, how much? How much of this recollection is truly based on the server's responsibilities and actions, and how much is based on your encounter as a whole? We tend to think of tipping based on the entire dining experience, but this is unfair to the server and not always the case. In customer service jobs, it's not always your performance that controls a customer's image of you, merely the kind of day the customer is having, and can be what skews their viewpoint of you and your service. The waitress or waiter, who is the face we see most coming to our table, is not the only wheel turning to make your restaurant experience a delightful one. The hostess, who you only see once, but is the first person to make contact with you, can also set the tone for your entire dining experience. Next, let's say you order an alcoholic beverage. The server is now relying on the bartender to prepare your drink in a timely manner and provide them for you. And then next, the food, which is the brunt of why we normally rate an experience bad or good, is relying on the chef or kitchen staff to properly prepare your order and in a manner that is satisfactory to you, the customer. All the while, the waitress or waiter is the messenger who is responsible for providing these updates and sometimes being the bearer of bad news. And what do we do if these components are not up to our standards? We penalize the server. We decide that, we penalize the server. Meanwhile, the other staff responsible or possibly responsible for your negative dining experience are getting paid at least minimum wage, regardless of our salty review. The waitress or waiter is the one who pays for any misstep in service, regardless of whether it was under their control. What about industries where you are required to pay regardless of the front house service you receive? For instance, the internet provider. If you are, sometimes you only have one choice with the neighborhood that you live in. And if you're unhappy with your actual internet service, you don't fault the contractor that comes to install that equipment for you. And you don't fault the customer service rep who may answer your calls when you have an issue. You fault the actual internet service itself, and yet you still pay. It is our responsibility to assist in this server's income. We're in a system that does not value these workers, a system where servers are now having to pay for America's rich, sick history. We, the main receivers of the servers that waitresses and waiters are providing, should do our part in making sure they are earning a proper living wage. Vegan.
Awesome, Chrissy. So basically what I'm hearing is that tipping is racist. So we're gonna
Whoa.
I'm just kidding. Okay, Lindsey, you're arguing that
quickly.
we should not be tipping.
Yes. So I want for everybody to picture, okay? You, like Christy already told us, you've been in quarantine. You may be going out to celebrate with the ladies. You may just be wanting to grab a bite to eat, and you know that you only have about 2 hours because you have a newborn baby, and he can only stay calm for a certain amount of time. So you're well greeted at the front, okay? Sit down at the table, looking at the menu, busy restaurant. Nobody has come to your table yet. And that's fine. We're chatting it up, chatty Cathy's. 15 minutes have passed by. Still nobody. Excuse me, somebody to the table, please. The waitress or waiter finally comes by. Oh, I only have one table. Okay, sis, you should have let me know that, okay? I got you. You only got one table? We can work with that. Come back by. Okay, we finally do our orders. We put everything in. We don't have any waters. No waters on the table. If we went to Red Lobster, no biscuit. See the biscuit? I know that's ready in the kitchen already. Do you hear me?
Ready to come out.
So finally, raise the hand again. Thank you, sweetie. On the table. Can we get something on the table? Now, mind you, so we came in joyful, right? But now I'm feeling a little tension because I'm hungry. I only got 45 minutes till my baby's about to wake back up, and I gotta go. So she comes back, takes our order, we eat. Oh, the kitchen is running behind. Okay, sis, I got you. She's running behind. You brought me the biscuits, my little salad on the side. Appreciate it. Guess what? I'm gonna give you an extra drink. Thank you, because we've been waiting for a while. So I'm giving you this story because communication is key when you are at a restaurant. It's not to say, if you don't communicate with your customer, then I won't know what's going on. And so at the end of the day, when you give me my receipt, I am going to be a little upset. because you didn't communicate. And this whole time I've had a nasty little attitude. You probably got one too, because if you're a sister or brother, you probably feel where I'm coming from. And we just gonna be mad at each other. And guess what? What's gonna say on the tip? Oh, I might drop this down to 10%. Now normally I do a little 20. I do a little 20%. Okay. But we're gonna drop it down. And this was based off of research. So I like how Christy brought up the research. I did look up like etiquette and what should you do if your service is bad. I know we're saying should you tip? It says you drop it on down. And I do know people that do that. Okay, they may be the most generous tippers ever. But as the time at my table goes by and I see you not doing what you need to do, we're gonna take it down every notch. Okay. And so for me, I think if the service is bad, you're not gonna get the tip you thought you was getting. I'm gonna call the manager over as well. Let me hear my voice. I'm gonna call the manager over as well, get my whole I support the community speech, and I come here all the time, and this is not the quality of service.
I support the community.
And maybe I do feel bad sometimes, because we know that they do make $2.13 an hour, but I feel like it's up to the government to subsidize that. They are working on their feet all the time. And just like they do in Washington, they give their servers minimum wage. And if I get a tip, cha-ching, cha-ching, right? It's extra. But your service has to be, to me, outstanding if you know that you're working to get these benefits. And yes, like Chrissy said, the hostess gets a cut, the bartender gets a cut, everybody gets a cut. So you better make your service immaculate, okay? So that we're not splitting $3 when the check comes to the table. You get $1, I get $1, and the hostess get $1, and she really didn't do nothing but smile and give the menu. So the service, yes, you need to serve me as if I am the Queen of Sheba, and your tip will bring you all the riches and gold that you deserve.
Well, okay then.
Okay, Sheba.
Queen of Sheba.
Queen of
Thank
anything.
you, Miss Sheba. Christy, we're gonna kick it back to you. Any rebuttal?
The riches and gold.
So one, to counter the splitting, so that even though everybody you encounter, or even those people working behind the scenes, are what you're saying like makes up that service, right? Only those tipping, well, lawfully, only those tipping jobs, like the waiter, waitress, and the busboy, those are the ones that are being impacted by our tipping. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you bring management over, but they're probably gonna dock from that person. Now you're messing up that person's livelihood, right? And then one other interesting thing that I saw, by law, that, you know, that 15% gratuity that you see if there's a party of 6 or more, apparently that can be taken by the business. That's not necessarily going to the waiter or waitress. So they're expecting a tip to be the gratitude of the customer themselves, and not what you're required to pay because you have a large party. So management is taking their cut, lawfully or unlawfully. So I believe we should still do our civic duty and making sure that if the government's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then why not help your fellow man out? You know what I'm saying? Give your tip, give your 10, your 15%. To me, anything helps, because right now your tipping wage is, like you said, $2.13 an hour. That's all I'm gonna say. Everything counts. Yes. Don't want to shorthand. Let's help our fellow man or woman. If the government's not doing their job and subsidizing, then we need to help out each other and making sure that everybody has a living wage.
Okay. I would also like to say, this is my rebuttal. I want you to think of Chick-fil-A. I want you to think of Publix.
Ooh.
They don't require any tips. I'm not sure what their paycheck is, but regardless of how they feel, what's going on in their life, they give immaculate service.
And it's their pleasure.
It's my pleasure, queen. No, nobody's ever seen my pleasure. But like, just thinking, if you have signed up for a job in customer service, you know that you are going to interact with people, and so you want to give them the best service that you can give. Yes, things may happen. Yes, it may be out of your control, but that's why I want to go back to communication is key, because we're all human. If you let me know that the kitchen is backed up, the bartender is working by herself, you're the only person in this section, and I came in with a party of 15, I may be a little aggravated, but at the end of the day, I know you're doing your best with what you have to give me. And so I will probably tip you a lot, even though there's so much going on in the background. But if you don't communicate and I don't know what's going on, then it's just going to be docked, and you might just get a lower tip. And I'm not going to say, and this may be against myself, but I would never say I'm never going to tip, but it may not be what you're expecting to receive at the end of our bill. And just like I'm an educator, I come, I do my job, and guess what? If I don't do my job, somebody's gonna put me in the back, let me know what's going on. I get evaluated all the time. And so as adults, even as teenagers, we have to be able to be receptive to feedback. So if this is your third table for the week that has pulled your manager over, you got to you got to do a self-check. What am I doing where I cannot please who I'm serving? You're in customer service at the end of the day. And so that's my end of the argument.
All right, guys. This is a toughie, but we're going to throw it to the commentators. Going to let you guys talk it out. We're going to find out what is the right thing to do and what do you actually believe you should do. All right, guys, this one was really tough, but we're going to kick it to the commentators, see what they're thinking about these arguments, find out should we or should we not tip, and then see what everybody really thinks about everything. So, Tena, you're up first.
Okay, so just lay all my thoughts out on the table, or just Christy, or just Lindsey?
Lay it out.
Lay it out. Okay, so first of all, Christy is usually not a super spicy person, but that was a spicy argument, okay? I'm a believer, so I'm gonna answer it two ways as far as who won the debate and what do I believe. I won't say who I won the debate, but Christy really came with the facts, and I was interesting on the history. Whereas Lindsey's, I think, approach appealed to me more emotionally. Christy's approach appealed to me more mentally. So they really have me torn 50-50. So that's on the quality of the debate. But what do I believe? Oh gosh, it's so hard, because I do feel like I tip generously, and I always tell myself, I don't eat at expensive places. So when I'm talking about 20, 25%, 30, 35%, I'm talking about the difference between an incremental $5 or not. And it's if that service person continues to get an incremental $5, or they continue to not get an incremental $5, that $5 difference means a lot more to them than it does to me. So I usually weigh towards Christy's logic. But then at the same time, Lindsey brings up a good point, which is a lot of people work based on their services. So salespeople work based on their service, right? They get a commission. If their customer service is not good enough, then they're just not going to make the sales, and they're just not going to get any commission. That is actually no difference than being a waiter, because you could have been pitching your idea for an hour. And if you don't get the sale, you're not going to get any money. You could be serving me for an hour, and if your service isn't good, you ain't going to get no money. So I can see both sides. I'm still torn on who won, but my personal belief is that you need to earn this money just like everybody else does. And if earning that money doesn't sit well with you, then there are other services than being a waiter that you can choose to do if that's just not your calling. That's my opinion.
All right, Tianny, what are you thinking?
My beliefs. So I think this is a bigger issue. I don't think it's a no tip in thing because, and I'll use Christy's logic. If this was altogether a team effort, why are you paying me different than you paying the rest of the team? Like I was unaware whether who got paid what. So like if everybody was getting tipped or if nobody was getting tipped, like I know my brother's a waiter, so he gets tips. But sometimes even as a host, he gets tips. You know what I'm saying? So like I wasn't aware of who gets tips and who wasn't. I know he prefers to work in the kitchen, but I think that's just because he don't really like people. But I have a very bad, I have negative ideas about tipping. I would prefer everybody get paid the regular wage because when I tip, I'm not tipping for the service. I'm tipping for the food. Like that food was great. So I may as well just go ahead to the dude in the kitchen, to be quite honest. Like, I'm not tipping you for what you should have done anyway. And I mean, I guess it's like a Tena thing. Like you are a commission-based person. You need to do this work. But I think that the honest answer is you need to pay these people a livable wage. You need to pay these people a livable wage so no one needs to be paid on the kindness of strangers. Like have you seen America? We're not kind. Okay, we're not kind. Don't pay these people on the kindness of strangers. Pay these people a fixed income. And then when you get sick and tired of them, you just get rid of them.
But Tianny, let me ask you, in the absence of fixing this from like a government standpoint, do you think that we as the customer are responsible for helping provide that livable wage? Just asking your opinion.
No, of course not. And again, I have very bad views because the people I know that tip the best are former waiters and waitresses, which means you tipping because you've been there and you feel bad for these people. You are not tipping because they are good. You are tipping because you have been there, because they are relatable. You can nod all you want, Alex, you know it's true. You done been there. And like Christy said, it may not have been you. It may have been the people in the kitchen. Maybe they didn't show up time. Maybe they in the back smoking or whatever. They holding you up. It could have been anything because at the end of the day, that service is a team effort. So either we all gonna get paid together the same way or we not. Like that's crazy to me. So I think people tip best because the person that they're talking to or waited by was relatable.
That is so interesting that you said you tip based on food, because that's actually the first time I've ever heard anybody say that they tip based on how good the food is. Is this just unusual for me?
No, I agree with you. Sorry, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But
okay, yeah. So that was interesting. Because you're tipping on the entire like experience of it, I guess. Whereas I'm tipping you based on, is my water glass full? Did you come by and ask me if I need ketchup? When I asked for the ketchup, did you bring it back, or were you looking around and serving everybody else around me? So I'm strictly looking at service.
Like Paige, like the example is a steakhouse. Okay. Steakhouses usually are more expensive, so your waiter has to be like upping their service level, because if you go to a steakhouse, you could easily pay $50, $60 for a piece of meat and have to buy your side separately. Okay. Yeah. If I pay $60 for a piece of meat and my waiter delivers me a meat that is well done. I know some of y'all like rubbery steak on here, but I don't. Okay. I like my steak juicy. I like it bloody. Okay.
Well, you don't need to be calling people out.
The guilty shall speak.
Yes. But the point is, in that experience, in that example, you are going to be interfacing with your waiter. And if you're annoyed that you just paid a $60 for a black hockey puck instead of a juicy red steak, you're going to be communicating irritated with your waitress or waiter. And their response to that is going to determine whether you'll get over that situation or not. So I had also never heard it expressed that way, Paige, but it kind of makes sense to me when I put it in context. like in that context, it's like, yes, I had that issue. And if my waiter doesn't be as angry as I am about this hockey puck, then I will feel like you're not acknowledging my food experience. Therefore, you're not getting my tip. Does that resonate with anybody else, or
it does? Because when you send food back, when you send food back, who pays for that? Doesn't it usually come out of the service check? Am I wrong?
I don't think
the cook. I thought it was the cook.
It's not. It comes out of the restaurant's money.
Yeah.
And they don't take
unless
the
only time the only time it comes out of the server is if the server made the error. If the food is cooked incorrectly, that's on the restaurant. If I just straight up put in the wrong food, then that's a different story. And even then, that's a discussion between you and your manager. It don't just automatically come out of my check. No.
Okay, I had no idea. Again, I don't know the inner workings of a restaurant, but yeah, no, I tip based on the food, because like Lindsey said, if you tip based on service, then you owe Chick-fil-A a lot of money. So you're not tipping based on service. You're not. You owe Chick-fil-A bank, because you go every day but Sunday. You eat the chicken nuggets, a cookie and a shake, and you gave them people a smile.
Well, I mean,
again, you don't have
to up for your service. You constantly coming back. I mean, with any fast food chain, you constantly coming back because of the service is me making it up in my pocket. Not as a tip, but bonuses, or you know what I mean, like pay out monthly because sales are high or something like that. So everybody getting paid based on their service. You know what I mean, regardless of how you look at it. So can I go next? I got comments. Sorry, Alex, if you were next. So I just want to say, like, Christy, I did not know the background on tipping, one. So thank you for that little tidbit of information. And I kind of, as I was listening to you lay out your argument, I was like, okay, yeah, that is me. Like, like I try, and I'm saying this as a grown woman. I'm not saying it as a 15-year-old kid going to friendlies with my friends after the movie theater back in the day. You feel me? So, I try to make sure that I am tipping because I know how low like a server's minimum wage is. You know what I mean? I do try to make sure that I am tipping. Well, I always tip, right? But then Lindsey came in with the real world situations, and I do value customer service. I don't care what type of customer service it is, whether you're dealing with my food, whether you're selling me a TV, whether, I'm calling because of my credit card, I got an issue with it. You know what I mean? Because I used to work in customer service and I know how it is on the other end. And whether you having a bad day or not, you do not take that shit out on me. Excuse me. So I need you to put on that fake smile, you know what I mean? And that, hi, how you doing, tone? Because whatever happened in the kitchen and whatever happened before I walked in the door, that has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? And because working at a restaurant, it's a team effort, right? So it's not just me as a server. It's like y'all said, the hostess, it's the people in the kitchen, you know what I mean? It's the bartender. So everybody has to work together. And if you on the bad side of the bartender, that's gonna mess with your tips because they holding up your orders, you know what I mean? Now people sitting there waiting and all they got is water and a lemon. You know what I mean? Like when I want my mojito, we will be dropping the blackberry mojito sponsored by Crafted Soul. Check that out on our Instagram at It's the Debate. Anyway, back to my comments. So all I want to say is that it resonated with me more when I heard Lindsey talking about, if the service is poor, period, then I am more inclined to only give you 15% gratuity versus the 20-25 that I normally would. I'm not about to give you 20% gratuity when I had piss poor service the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, you coming to constantly check on me, making sure everything's okay, communicating with me. The kitchen is backed up. I am so sorry. I brought you extra cheddar biscuits. They are warm, fresh out the oven, just to hold y'all over. And as soon as that food is ready, I will bring it to you. That changes the entire experience versus you hiding out in the back because the food ain't ready and I'm looking for you. because I'm hungry. You feel me? So yeah, that's
the one finger look for me. When you do this, you really look at what it's the one thing. If I'm doing this, it's not a big deal. If I'm doing this, where you at?
Exactly. So yeah, my whole thing is customer service. I don't care what line of work you're in. That customer service means a great deal. And if your customer service is piss poor, then I'm going to tip accordingly, or I'm either not going to return or something. You know what I mean? Like all of that is dependent on customer service. So yeah.
And going back to Tina's previous point about like when you put it into context, you are tipping on food. Like, no, I still think that's customer service because, you know, maybe the restaurant's food is just not that great and that's what it is. But as long as the service is there and they did what they could, you still have to tip them on that, right?
Yeah.
Tina silence.
If you go and you get terrible food, you're not tipping.
It wasn't me paying attention. I just felt like Rhodes had something to say, but I was just trying to look if he was going to comment or if he had nothing to say.
He's pulling his hair out.
Go ahead, Alex.
Thank you. Okay, so they all know this is kind of eating me up because I am the service person in the crew. I have been a hostess, a waitress, and a bartender. And so I know how this works. And you guys actually might be surprised about my opinion. So first of all, I want to make the comment of when you go to a restaurant and you're tipping the server, in most cases, it does depend on the type of restaurant. Like Red Lobster might be a little different than a higher tier restaurant. Places I've worked, the hostess does not get tipped because their pay is typically higher. When I was a hostess, I was getting paid like $9 or $10 an hour, so I did not get tips, as opposed to waitresses. So waitresses and bartenders are typically, and then the busboy is typically who is getting tipped. And typically, if you're at a table, you're tipping the waitress who is tipping out the bartender and the busboy. If you're at the bar, you're tipping the bartender directly. That's different. Mm-hmm. So I want to clarify that, one. And then two, you shouldn't be tipping based on the quality of the food because that has nothing to do with the server. That's not, right. I can't control that. I don't cook the food. I can't. Now, it's one thing if I bring in your food cold, but if you just don't like the food or it just doesn't taste good, that's not on me. That's on the kitchen. And that's something you put in a Yelp review, you talk to the manager about. But as far as my tip, they ain't got nothing to do with me. Right. Now, what I will say is that I 1,000% agree with Alanna, Lindsey, and I don't know who else said it. Being a waitress, a bartender, and even a hostess really is a customer service job. And it's even similar to the job I have right now. I don't care if you came in with a bad attitude. I don't care if you don't like your job. You are here to service me in this position. So yes, you need to come to the table with a good attitude. You need to be attentive. That's the description of the job. It's just like any other job. If you don't do your job correctly, there are consequences. If I'm not attentive to my tables, if I don't manage my tables correctly, time management, if I'm not checking on them, bringing their food, making sure their drinks, I'm not doing my job appropriately. And in this case, while I do think there are significant issues with the way that servers, like the restaurant industry is paid in general, and the tipping really should be eliminated altogether. But since that is not the case, that is how they're getting paid. And so I do believe a waitress, it is your job, bartender, to work for your tip. Like if you are providing shitty service, and I've seen that where, you know, waitresses, like you bring them ketchup in the beginning, but then you never go back and see them until you drop the check off. Like, where you been this whole time? Like, I had no hot sauce. You know, I needed this. I needed a refill. Like, if my table got bottomless samosas and I see 5 empty glasses on the table, I'm not doing my job, you know? So you do need to work towards your tip. And I think the key distinguishment in this argument is that we're arguing whether your tip is affected by your service. Not necessarily that you shouldn't tip. But even me, when I go to restaurants and I tip, I do tip based off your service. Mm-hmm. I tip very generously. Kind of as Tianny said, it's because I've been in the service industry. Mm-hmm. So Tianny is making.
Save her. She is under attack.
Who?
Oh, you missed it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Keep going.
I do tip very generously, and that is because I've worked in the service industry. So that's just, we tip, most service people tend to do that. You tip very generously. But at the same time, I also have a keen eye. I recognize shitty service. And some of you have been out with me before, and I have called out people like, you're a terrible server. Like, you're just not good at this. And I'm not going to not tip you, but your tip will reflect that. So I do believe that, as with any service job, you do need to work for the amount of gratuity that I'm going to give you, the tip I'm going to give you. I'm not giving you 25% tip if you ain't been to my table but to take my order and to drop off the check. Like, what am I paying you for? So I do agree with that. This is a topic I'm very passionate about.
So
okay, but can I? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I have a question for Alex, just to keep it spicy. A salesperson, we're trying to get a water softener at the house, and we had a couple people come out, and one guy was out here literally he was here for 2 hours doing all these demos and testing our water and showing us all the metals in it. And my dude worked his ass off, but no matter how hard he worked, his price was too high, and it had nothing to do with it. He was just the company. But I imagine that he works on commission, and we're not going to tip him for coming out to the house. And so he's just not going to get that commission for reasons that are outside of his control. My question to you is, do you think that scenario is different? Not should he be tipped, but do you think that scenario is different for some reason? Or yes. Do you think that it's similar?
It's different because you came to this restaurant for the food. So before I was even introduced into the picture, you were coming here for the food. You didn't come here to necessarily see me. So you've gotten the food regardless. With him, his pay is based off of whether you get this product. You're going to eat the food regardless. And even if you eat it, I may or may not get tipped, but you're still going to eat the food. So I think it's not the same situation. I don't know if that makes sense.
I don't know if I can talk, but I would like to say something. I agree with Alex. I think it's different, but I also think the guy who came to your house, he's getting a nice probably paycheck. He's probably getting not $2.13 an hour to come to something. So at the end of the day, he's cool with going to 10 houses a day and maybe only two people buy the product. I think it's just like working at a car dealership. Yes, you get a salary, but you get plus if I sell you this car. Does that make sense?
It's a bonus.
I don't really know how
commission is a bonus.
I don't really know how commission works, so I also can't completely speak to that. I don't know if commission comes out as like a bonus or if that's what supplements your pay.
It's just on top.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So just putting my 2 cents in here, even though I wasn't asked, that's different because when you saw the menu, you saw the prices and said, I'm going to continue to sit here and order. If
before
that dude would have told you the prices up front, you had a chance to make a decision. All right, I'm gonna entertain this man or I'm not. So if you entertain this man and you knew his prices and then decided at the end that it was still too much, and that was kind of on you. It wasn't even on that man because he gave you the menu. He's like, look, this is what I'm trying to do. It will cost this much. And you did the conversation because many people come knock on this door. And I was like, I'm gonna have hard water because I don't have what you asking for.
And also in that scenario, you're basing your decision off price, not quality. So what I'm saying is that you're saying you're not going to choose him because it's really just too expensive. Like his service was great, but at the end of the day, the product costs too much. Whereas if you've come in this restaurant and you decided to eat, obviously the price isn't the issue. Your issue when it comes down to paying this person is the quality of the food, the service, the drink, or whatever you got. So this is a quality issue, not a price issue. So that's a little different. I can't control the price of my food or the drinks, but I can control the quality of the service you get.
So again, I'm only bringing this up to keep it spicy, but the reason why I think that it could be a little bit similar is because an argument you could make for having a lower threshold for tipping, like no matter what, I'm gonna give you 15, but if you want that 20, 25, you're gonna have to work for it. And on the basis that person is gonna have to serve you regardless. It's like, I feel like waiters it's unique that they can get paid below minimum wage. That's the unique piece. in that I don't know other jobs where your baseline pay is below minimum wage and you're relying on the tip to get above minimum wage. That piece I do think is unique, but the idea that you can only make money if people like you is not unique.
But I also think that that's what makes this whole argument as a whole such a thing, is that, you know, when people, because like you said, in any other scenario, you know, it wouldn't really be an issue. But the fact that people are literally getting paid like $2-3 an hour, and then their livelihood is based on how you feeling when you sign that check at the end, is what makes this whole conversation very different. And I'm gonna also give y'all full transparency. When I was a bartender and a waitress, I was not making $2-3 an hour. So I was making quite a bit more. So I was in a little different scenario. That's just my full transparency.
So you bougie.
Was it
I am bougie.
The restaurant you worked at? I'm sure.
It was because of where I worked.
Oh, okay.
It was a different scenario. And because management was a little ghetto and they didn't know what they were doing. So we were getting paid wildly more than we probably should have been getting paid. Because I was getting paid like $9 an hour and still getting tipped. But
that's the way it should be.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's the thing. Like, even with that being the scenario, and then you also have to think about the amount of work that goes into, you know, that customer service field. Like, it ain't a lightweight job to be a waitress or a bartender by any means.
But I guess that's my point. My point is that, to me, the only distinguishing factor is that your baseline pay is below minimum wage, because it's like a lot of people do a ton of hard work to have to get a paycheck, and that's just not unique. Right. That's not unique to being a waiter or waitress. I think the one thing the thing that's unique is that it's one of the only industries I know of that in the base case you can get paid less than minimum wage, and you're depending on people to get you to minimum wage.
Let me ask you this, and never mind, because it's about the product and not the service, because I was thinking real estate. I asked the real estate agent to help me find a few houses. She found a few houses. I didn't like any of them, but we ended up spending like 5 hours together. She got nothing out of that. And exactly. I don't like, it wasn't, she was an amazing person. It's just that everything she showed me, she would never even put her own children in. So like, why, you know what I'm saying? Like, she should have gotten paid. And that was a conversation I had with her husband later on.
That sounds like she wasn't good at her job.
I was gonna say.
Well, she kept showing you houses she would put her kids in.
Well, what we came to the understanding is my number was too low. And so what I could afford was something that she wouldn't put her kids in. Because the argument, well, not even an argument, the conversation was like, hey, my wife spent all Saturday with you. Did you give her anything for it? And I was like, she didn't send me a bill. I didn't know I had to. He was like, oh, well, you don't have to, but you should, because she spent like 5 hours with you. Y'all drove all around Houston. And I was like,
BS.
That's not how that goes.
That is not how being in real estate works. And that's what you signed up for when you decided to be a real estate agent.
But how is that different than being a waiter or a waitress? This is a perfect example.
That's what I asked.
Because your job and your pay is based off the final sale. That's a different thing. Your job is based off the sale of that product. As a waitress, my job, I'm getting paid for my services. A real estate agent gets paid for the product that they sell. The water softener person gets paid for the product that they sell. I don't get paid I don't get paid more because I sold 10 steaks as opposed to 5 steaks today. I mean, I might get more gratuity because
you do because it's a percentage.
You do, but I don't get paid.
I'm not getting a bonus because
I sold steak instead of salmon. You get paid because of the house you sold.
But if I don't like the houses you sold me, you know that you're gonna get $0.
That's not if I sold it to you. Bill at the restaurant has to get paid regardless. I don't have to buy this house that you're selling me. I don't have to buy your water softener.
But we're not talking about paying bills. We're talking about tipping. So if you're saying
you're not tipping a realtor,
you're not tipping them.
But wait, let me finish. If I, as a real estate agent, am making money based on providing a product that you will then like and then you'll buy, how is that different than if I, as a server, need to provide a service you're willing to pay for?
Because if I bought the house, you got paid.
Right.
Yeah.
A part of
what's the difference? He's talking about
getting your commission.
She's talking about showing you houses you
it's
didn't
not
buy.
coming out directly out of my pocket. The price
And you
of my
showed
house,
me a service.
but the price of my house is $300,000, regardless of whether I found the house myself or whether you showed me the house and I bought it.
Realtors don't get
as
paid
my realtor
for their service of showing you houses. They get paid to sell the house.
Right.
That's
But I
how
guess
their job works.
My point is the real estate agent can't get paid until they do something that you like, which is find you a house.
No.
Yes, like I was looking for houses in New
They
Jersey.
get paid to sell the house.
Okay, so
it's not necessarily
if
you
I'm a
find
buyer,
me the house. You gotta sell it to me.
No, yes. Okay, if I'm a buyer, I can work with a real estate. I worked with a real estate agent for a month looking for places in New Jersey. And then we ended up moving to Texas. She got $0. She put in at least 15 hours with us.
Right.
And she got $0.
She knew that when she wanted to be a real estate agent, right?
So, but if I put in an hour of service with you at a restaurant and I don't like
I'm
your
at
service,
least getting the $2.
But
I think we're comparing apples and oranges.
Right.
Yes.
Because
I don't think so.
To me, again, it's a thing of selling it's a product and a service. I understand a real estate agent provides a service, but their pay is based on that product. They have to sell the house.
Tena.
My pay is based on the service. I am a service provider. My pay is based on the service that I'm providing.
But my point is, so what am I supposed to do? So the argument is still on this level of tipping. So I'm still on the level of tipping. So if he gives me a service as a waitress that I don't like, our custom is to tip regardless.
I thought that's the argument.
Yes.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, as a waitress, if you pay me a service that I do not like at all, it's still our custom to tip something regardless if I hated the service.
So now I'm with Alanna. I do think we're comparing apples to oranges. I don't think
it's two different industries, and that's why
I don't think you
apples
can
and
compare
oranges.
them.
No, can I try to make it make sense?
Okay.
The house you live in right now, Tena, could a jackass have sold you that house? Seriously, because it wasn't.
I don't know how to answer that.
No, because here's my thing. It wasn't the service that made you buy that house.
It was the
product. It was the
house,
product.
yeah.
So there is a difference.
No, the reason why I say no is because if I'm buying a house, I don't need my real estate agent to help me buy that house. If a real estate agent found me a house that I like and I hate that person, then I would simply go hire a different real estate agent to buy me the same house. This is different than selling a house. For selling a house, you have one agent. For buying a house, I could literally have an agent show it to me, find it to me, don't like them, and get someone and just have them do the paperwork for the same exact house.
I think that in itself is why these are two very different arguments.
Yeah, apples and oranges.
No,
okay, I was trying.
But forget the house. Just back on tipping. It still gets back to, if I'm paying for a service and I do not like the service, am I still supposed to pay?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
I'm not a good person, so don't.
Because that's how that
is
I don't
proper
know that there's
etiquette.
any way for me to argue this unbiasedly.
Can we vote and then hear what the real people think? I mean, not the real people, the people who debate.
The real people.
Who am I, Pinocchio?
Pinocchio, you're
a real boy.
All right, so voting on the arguments specifically, not your position, Tena.
Okay. On the argument, I vote Christy because I just like how she presented the argument. But for the record, I do believe in tipping. I do believe in tipping regardless, even though it just sounded like I don't. I just like to be spicy.
Mm-hmm.
But Christy.
Trying to clarify.
I'm a generous tipper.
Tianny.
I vote Christy. I'm not gonna tell you how I feel about tipping because I know it's bad. Know yourself. So, listen, y'all not about to cancel me over this foolishness. So I knew the history of it, but I did like hearing it again and how, you know, it was just so well laid out.
All right, Alanna.
Vote Lindsey. I love the argument. It spoke to me directly, and she hit key points that I wanted to hear.
Alex?
I vote Lindsey. And I'm gonna be honest, this is an emotional topic for me. But I think that Lindsey put it in perspective that made it feel real. Like low key, I did not think I would agree with the Lindsey's point, but I like the way she presented it, I was like, oh shit, like, no, that's what I do. So I like the realistic approach that she brought to it. So I vote Lindsey, which means Paige.
Tiebreaker. Ooh. Okay.
No pressure.
I was completely not prepared to do this. I do like the facts and the history of tipping, but that Chick-fil-A, haymaker. But the facts. Going with the facts, Christy did it for me.
That's Christy.
Thanks, guys.
Real quick, can I make a comment about the Chick-fil-A thing we keep bringing up?
Go on.
I don't know if we're bringing it up to be funny or to be serious.
No, we're dead ass.
No, I'm bringing it up
Okay.
to be serious because it's about your business.
Right. Okay. So here's my thing with the Chick-fil-A. So Chick-fil-A gives superb service. We all know this. And I think Lindsey made a comment about
And they cannot accept tips.
They cannot accept tips. And we made a comment about, you know, you owe them money and things. I think the thing with that is that and I don't quote me on this because I've never worked at Chick-fil-A, so I don't know what they get paid, but I'm certain they get paid appropriately for their work. And that's why, like, I think it really goes back to Christy's point that if the restaurant industry paid workers appropriately, we wouldn't have to have this conversation about tipping. I think tipping is stupid at the end of the day. I think it really realistically should be something that you do because, like, damn, that service was fire. Let me give you a little extra something on the top. But I don't think we would have to have the argument if people got paid appropriately. Like, Chick-fil-A employees and, you know, get paid what they're supposed to get paid to work in their industry. So they do their job, you know? But if I'm only get paid $2 an hour, then, you know, those extra $5 tip you gave me really will make or break my paycheck. And so it puts you in that whole guilt position. Like, I got to tip you because I know they don't pay you right. So I got to fix it. That's not my job. And you really is terrible at your job, but like, I know they don't pay you. So I don't know.
Yes, Alex, to your point, I never tip below 15%. Like, that's my bottom threshold because I think people deserve it. But I don't like that I have to have a minimum threshold regardless of the service. For reasons we've already discussed.
Do you want to hear how we feel?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, because I have a question after y'all give y'all what y'all really feel.
Can we take another break before we do what they feel?
So now we're going to hear from our debaters, find out what were they actually thinking when they gave their argument and do they agree with it. So, Christy, you'll go first.
So today I argued the affirmative, and I definitely do. I'm one of those that does always give a tip. Still?
No.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So today I argued the affirmative, and I'm definitely one of those that does always give a tip, but I am definitely a sliding tier type person. So if you weren't as attentive or stuff was, let's say I asked for something and then you come back each time asking like if we need anything else, and I'm like, oh yeah, that one thing still. But I'm definitely one of those sliding tiers. So if your service wasn't as great with us, or maybe there was like an attitude there, anything like that, then I may be down towards the 10-15. But if it was like excellent service, being attentive, even stuff that, like, you know how sometimes you haven't even asked for it yet and they come and bring it type thing, So that one would be definitely the 25%. So I do agree with the point I was making. I don't agree with the reason that I stated. So I'm not just for the most part, I'm not a like, let's do it for the will of the goodwill of all man type. But I do feel like it's my responsibility in a sense. So that's why I still give some, but again, it's still based on the service of the waiter or waiter.
Okay.
So I agree.
Well, my name is Lindsey, and I was not convinced by Christy's argument that we should always tip, regardless of the service. But I would like to state that I have grown in my tipping journey, because there was at a point in time where if you didn't give me good service, you didn't get a tip, and I would clearly cross the line with my little initial, and that was it.
That's more disrespectful.
And one example was my mother. We had terrible service one day, and it kind of looked like kind of racist because we were the only Black people in the section and whatever. My mother crossed it out, and her tip, the lady's tip, was a quote to treat everybody the same. That's what my mother wrote on the tip line. And my mother always tips, but when the service was not what you expected, you didn't tip. But going back to my journey, like I said, I was a person who, if the service is bad, I'm not tipping. But I'm at the point where if the service is good, I'm tipping. I do the 20%. Especially, I have my favorite restaurants that I love to go to, especially if the bartender knows me. They might not even charge me for everything that I get, which is why I don't tip based off food or beverage. But they hooking me up while I'm sitting at the bar, giving me good conversation. Oh, you only charged me for my one drink, and I had about 10? Great, you get $30. That's your tip, go straight to your pocket. And so
Can we go to that restaurant? I said, can we go to that restaurant?
Yeah.
I'll get a babysitter.
But see, I like to hang out where I grew up. And so it's Chili's. You know, everybody don't like a little Chili's, but
I love it.
I love a good Chili's.
And it doesn't have to be the particular restaurant, but when you have good vibes and you meet good people and the people like communicate and y'all are just shitting the shit or whatever you want to say, like
shooting the shit.
You are shooting the shit.
Not shitting the shit.
You appreciate the personal touch that people give you when they give you service. So if you give me crappy service, you get a crappy tip, and that's just it. And I'm include the manager. And even if it's the food is bad, I know it's not your fault, but I'm gonna let the manager know that my food was cold, so clearly it's been sitting up there till everybody else's food was ready, because all I ordered was some fries. So y'all already had that ready in the back, and it's cold. So that's why I say it's just all about communication. I do appreciate my growth with tipping, because I know that they do not get paid to me what they should be getting paid, because they are there every day for 8, sometimes more hours than they should be. So they should not just be depending on people's tips to have a lifestyle or living the bare minimum, getting all the basic needs that they need and acquire to live life. So that's just me. And yeah,
those are 2 places you got me, Lindsey. One, the communication, because I'm like, all this stuff happens in the background and nobody's seeing, but you get blamed for it. And Lindsey's like, I mean, just mention it. Just
communication is critical.
And then the Chick-fil-A reference, and just the fact that, one, it's like a mandate.
Yes.
First of all, to respond in a certain way. You realize nobody ever says you're welcome. They always say it's my pleasure.
Is it really?
I did not notice that.
They don't say you're welcome.
You didn't notice?
That's a code.
My pleasure.
Yes.
And they run next to the car for real. I know people be making videos like it's a joke, but it's a real
thing. They
thing.
do. I just went to Chick-fil-A and I was trying to order on my app, but I didn't have enough time. And the dude was literally running by my car. I was like, I am so sorry, sweetie. I just ordered with you. It's okay. I'll just order with you.
To organizations setting a standard, like this is the standard we want all of our customers to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And when you apply for this job, I'm giving you what the standard is. And I'm not trying to be like, shit, I just need somebody to work 9 to 5 on Sunday. Like, what the fuck? Like, no, these are the expectations for the job. And
I think it has a lot of stuff in American culture has deep like racial issues and everything too. Mm-hmm. But this one, who do you see doing the service jobs? A lot of people who are immigrants who, you know, so like a bus boy who's immigrant, they're like, oh, it's seen as less than, and therefore I don't need to pay you as much because you quote unquote need this job. You don't know that person and what they need, but you're thinking,
I couldn't understand why they was trying to close the borders. Who's gonna do the jobs that y'all don't want to do?
That's so many jobs.
I'm sorry, but
so many jobs.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. And what's crazy about the busboy comment is that, you know, you treat them less than, but let me tell you something. As a server, you are screwed if that busboy's not doing his job. Like if my tables are not getting cleaned and flipped quickly enough and we got people lined up, we're screwed. Like busboys are critical employees. Like they're critical. They have to clean the tables. You know, it all works together. Everybody's got to work together. The bartender's got to work with the server. If the hostess sits you down the wrong way or in the wrong section, they screw the servers, or if they piss you off before you walked in the door, now you got an attitude when you get to the table, and I'm looking like, well, I ain't even do nothing yet. Like it works as an ecosystem, so everybody is vital to how this whole operation works.
And I do
in the back hates you, your food's probably gonna be fucked up. I've had that happen.
Kudos to Christy, because everything I researched to try to defend my side was really on Christy's side. So I did not have any research. And not only was it on Christy's side, it was either we need to tip or you need to get put it away and give these people what they deserve, regardless of if their service is good or not. So that's why I was kind of like, well, you could decrease the tip, you know, but everything was really leaning towards tip, or we need to just pay these people what they're worth.
It's really laws that need to be updated because.
Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yes, go Tena.
Are those federal laws or are those state laws? Because it feels federal.
About what?
So there is like a federal minimum or something like that, but each state can have their own laws.
Okay.
As well.
Washington State.
That's why they were pushing back so much on Biden trying to include minimum wage in the COVID relief. That's why they were fighting so much, because some states it was well above that, but other states who abide by federal minimum wage levels,
Georgia.
They don't.
No, we said it for another topic. We said it for another time.
That's the next debate topic.
It's really not a debate. It's just stupid. How stupid can you get?
I have a question for the group. So we all know that there are stereotypes when it comes to tipping while being Black, that we don't tip at all or tip way lower than, you know, whatever the standard is. So my question for you is, I guess it's kind of like a chicken and the egg type of thing, where it's like people give us worse service because they think we're not going to tip. So my question for you is, do you just, if you know that's what's going on, in Lindsey's case that she mentioned with her mother, do you still tip generously to kind of kill that stereotype and I guess look out for the next Black person that's coming to this restaurant? Or do you call them out and say, I feel like this is what is happening, and you know.
When I get my check, I'm at the point in my life where I'm gonna let you know how I felt. You know what I mean? Like, as I've asked you for my check and it's time to go, I will call a server over or call a manager over, you know what I mean? And express how I'm feeling and how the service was to me. You know what I mean? That way you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I will make that clear to people. So
I agree.
take your bias and shove it up your head.
I agree. I feel like, having been a server, servers are very aware when they're giving shitty ass service. You know what you're doing. And so for me, F that whole Black people stuff. So the way I feel like I combat that is kind of like Alanna says, if you're giving me like superb shitty ass service, I am going to ask you to bring me a manager, and I'm gonna let your manager know everything that has occurred and what has happened. And I want you to know this is what occurred. This is how it happened, so that there is a basis of what has happened, and you know why you just got this crappy ass tip. Now, I still say I don't not tip, and that is a personal bias, but I do tip less. And I want you to know why I tip less, and I want your manager to know why you got a crappy tip. So I wanted to be stated. And usually when I say it, I'm like, I tip very well, but I have been ignored all this time. I've been getting attitude this entire time. Everything I've asked for has been wrong. My food was cold. I just went to a restaurant recently with my mother. We went to brunch and the food was great, but my mom's waffle was like cold, like the butter just sat on the top. And when the waiter came back to bring the check, he was like, how is everything? I was like, well, my food was great. My mom's like, my waffle was cold. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. So he brought the check later. When he brought the check, he was like, I'm so sorry about that. We took the waffle off. And for me, it's like, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
I tipped that boy crazy, because to me, it's not just about what happened there. It's like how you respond to it.
Yep.
He could have just been like, sucks for you. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
So I don't care about that whole Black stuff. I don't give a damn how you feel about me. Yeah. I know me. I know how I tip, and I know I tip well. So if I don't tip well, I'm going to make sure it's understood of what happened and what should have happened. And then you're going to get that, 10%.
I agree with Alex. I would say the only thing difference is like, it just depends on my energy level if I have the energy to address the waiter and the manager. And I'll tell you, generally, I don't, because it's like, I love cooking at home. So if I'm going out, it's probably because I'm tired and I just wanted to go out and get something easy. And then talking to the manager is a whole nother thing. So agree with Alex's tipping philosophy, but generally, if I don't like the service, I'll just give my 15% and not say anything, just because it's just an energy thing for me. I don't want to put it on.
That's still generous, 15%.
That's usually as low as I'll
the
go,
manager.
Like 15.
No. 15, yeah.
Like 10. No. I used to be the one that like I wanted to set the tone for like people like me, like this is how we really are type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to care about that image that put off, but not anymore. I agree with everybody.
She said bump that.
Not anymore, because why? Where's the return?
Yeah.
Nothing.
So
they're not, and I can assure you they're not thinking about it. They're not.
Do y'all remember, I don't know if it was all of us, when there's that pizza spot in
I was just about to bring
Chinatown? Okay.
There was a bad aroma.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think I was there.
And if y'all ever go out to eat with me, I'm calling it out. I don't give a fuck. Like, if you are not giving me the vibes that I need.
And I remember
that.
the time we went out to eat and Ashley didn't get a bill at all. Like, they gave all of us a bill and Ashley didn't get a bill. And who snitched?
Lindsey. Lindsey snitched.
Lindsey was like, she didn't pay for her food. And we was like, Lindsey.
There we go.
But going back to you being worried about the waitress, that comes out of their check.
This is true.
True.
So,
but that's not why you did it, but you're
no, that's
not why I did it. But if I'm about to pay for my food, so are you.
Okay, but since
when I'm 18,
stories talking about I don't have the energy now. I used to have the energy, and one time me and Alanna,
I was like, wait, me?
We went to a pizza place after it was like one of those bar crawls for Halloween. And I swear to God, I'm not kidding. There was a cockroach baked into the slice. And we did not make a scene. We literally brought it up to the dude and we were like, can we get a different pizza or get a refund?
Can I get my
refund?
I want another one.
A refund for a cockroach being baked into my slice.
And he said no. He said no. So
I'd have flipped everything over. Just
we held up the cockroach slice of pizza. We made an ass.
You mean to tell me?
Look at this cockroach in the pizza.
We made a scene.
You ought to.
Yeah,
What's your mind, sir?
Y'all know they cook cockroaches in the pizza scene.
I'd have caused a scene.
I would have.
It takes a lot for me to cause a scene. But I do remember that time we went to brunch.
Should have threw that
with my
slice
cousins and Alanna and Van, and that server was trifling. And I said something, and y'all were like, "He gonna spend our food." I was like, "No, because I'm a waitress, and I know he's shitty. And he knows he's terrible.
No.
And he apparently he heard me. He came back and he was like, "And I'm not a terrible waiter." I'm like, "But you are though."
It was the way in which you delivered your
because it was the truth.
But
you could have said to him, "Sir, this service."
I wasn't talking to him though. I was talking to y'all.
Alex, I'ma paint the scene. Lindsey was there.
For you, Alex, I'm rooting you on.
This man, he might have been horrible. I ain't
terrible.
But Alex, talk about this man. He's in earshot.
I didn't know he was in earshot. In my defense,
he was at the next table over.
He was behind me,
and she was like, "He's just so shitty."
True.
And we was like, I just want my eggs not dropping.
and just as a customer, where did I go recently? I went to a taco place and we sit down.
I had my food.
And we're asking the guy, like, okay, what do you think about this? He was like, you can read the menu.
Ooh.
Oh, matter of fact, can you give me a manager? We haven't even ordered yet. Can you give me a manager? The manager came over. I'm not really feeling his vibe. Just in another section, please. The manager gladly sat in another section. We had he gave us some extra shots. So like the other waitress who came and served us did not get penalized for his shitty ass greeting.
Right.
Like, if you don't want to work in this industry, choose something else.
That is one thing I will absolutely say. If you know you not built for the service industry, because there are times where I have been a great waitress and some guests just want to be assholes. They just do. They don't want to be there. They had a bad day. And that's nothing. I can't react because you want to be an ass. As my job, I still have to be, respectful and polite. If you're not built for that industry, do not get into that industry. Just don't do it because it ain't really much. Like you just I've had drunk patrons who just are drunk and assholes, and then you just gotta like fight through it. So if you're not built for that, don't get into the service industry.
That's why I had to do customer service on the phone.
Yeah, because in person, all the faces,
my body language, y'all know.
It's just Alanna will show it all on her face.
You will know I have an attitude.
These masks have been helping tremendously
yes.
during the pandemic. I just want to say, even though it sucks to be wearing it for 10, 12, I know.
You have a whole attitude from here down.
Yes. I'm like, thankfully they cannot see this portion of my face. Now,
I just be looking like
my eyes are a different story, but yeah.
But I hate that you can't fake smile at people because I'm good for doing one of these at work.
I still do it, and then I realize later that they can't see me.
That's it. Right. I realize
I fake smile at people all the time, and I'm like, right, you can't.
They don't know.
Right. They be like, "How you doing?" I'd be like.
Right, exactly.
They saw nothing.
Any other comments? Questions?
No, but as I appreciate anybody who's in the service industry and who gives their all. I just want to say that you are appreciated, especially during this time, because beginning of quarantine, they shut the shit down. When y'all open these restaurants and stuff back up, feed me, okay? Because I don't want to cook every day.
All right, here's the last question, guys. DoorDash, because we talked about quarantine. I just sometimes don't feel like I need to tip as a percentage on my DoorDash because I feel like if I order $60 worth of food or $25 worth of food, you're still driving there, putting in your car and putting it here. So like, what is how much I have to order have to do with it? So what do you guys think about DoorDash tipping as a percentage? And this is the example. You get Smoothie King. If you get one smoothie or two smoothies, should you pay more tip? Alanna.
Let me go because
Let them know.
Just ordered a smoothie from Smoothie King. Anywho, Beginning of quarantine, I am one of the people who didn't realize you could like adjust past the blocks that they show you. I guess it was like 10, 15, 20, whatever the percentages are. I didn't realize you could hit other, right? So I would either do 10 or 15, depending on the day, right? But baby, when you looking at 5 different fees plus tip, and on top of that, my cheeseburger is normally $2.50 when I am in person. However, now that I want to order from DoorDash, it's about $3.10. Like, goddamn. So I adjust my tip accordingly. Maybe if it's payday, I might, leave it on that percentage, but no, y'all doing too much.
How about if it's an accident? That happened to me the other day.
Not an accident.
Took the tip out because, like you just said, and I don't do DoorDash, I do Uber Eats.
All of them, they
just charge. So number one, the menu is already upcharged, being that it's online. Then they give you a service fee, a delivery fee, and they'll let you order one thing. You get a small fee. So it's just
small order fee.
You had a small order fee?
Yes.
Because they ordering one
I've never
thing.
ordered through those things. I didn't know that.
But just to focus it, I'm going back to Alanna specifically. You just ordered a smoothie. The way it's set up right now, if you order one smoothie, and let's say you don't have a small order fee, you're going to pay 20% on that, let's say. Should you be paying more because you ordered 2 smoothies? Like that's.
I'm gonna just let you know right now, my smoothie, I did not tip on this smoothie because I tipped them last time. I'm sorry you got a different driver, but I tipped y'all last time, and my bill for one smoothie was like $15. Goodbye.
So does the driver get what I've never ordered any of these sites before. So does the driver get whatever that percentage
you don't ever have any delivery?
I have to leave the house every day. So no.
I mean, I leave the house every day and I still get
No, I've never ordered any of these apps. No. I've never
I don't know
used
if they get a percentage, but it's probably like regular Uber. Like you get paid a certain amount because.
But they like that 20% you're talking. The driver doesn't get that.
The actual tip they get.
Oh, okay, that is their tip.
They get it, but I'm just like, why should you get more just because I ordered 2 smoothies instead of 1? Like you're doing the same amount of work.
It's the same with takeout. I'm giving you $2.
Right.
Okay. Now that's different.
If I do carry out, I'm not tipping.
Yeah, that's different.
I put a 0.
If I have to go pick the food up, that's different than
I put a 0 and a slash through it.
So I never knew. Like I'm like, what is the etiquette? Do you just not at all? Sometimes I'll do like 10% just because
for takeout,
I'm feeling generous.
You don't look them in the eye.
That's like $1. That's like $1 or $2.
I looked him in the eye.
Flip it over and give it back.
And I do $1. I do $1 or $2 because I feel bad. But I'm gonna be honest, even as a server, I don't really know the takeout etiquette. I don't know.
Okay.
There ain't
I would be surprised when I got tips for takeout. I'd be like, oh snap.
Nah,
sometimes you're sitting there and the bartender.
I mean, I put the food in the bag for you.
Nah,
the bartender, like you're sitting there at the bar and they're like, would you like a glass of water?
I don't expect a tip for takeout. If you order food at the bar and you're leaving, I don't expect a tip for that.
No. Okay.
It's cool if I get one, but I don't expect it now.
That's good.
The fees.
Delivery is different though.
The fees here, because just like you said, there's actually like an extra fee called the regulatory fee. And I don't even know what that is, but I do know that I've gotten to the point where me and DoorDash, we have an agreement. I will order and I'm going to pick it up because everything was double the price of what it should have been. Like it doesn't matter where I ordered. Once you got to final checkout, the price doubled. And I'm like, I'm confused.
No, you done added your items in $12.95. By the time you check out, you at $30.95.
I think that's why I've never ordered from those places. Like I don't understand.
Upcharge.
I'll just go get it.
And then how much, since we were on the waiter waitress, how much of that, if any, how much does the person who actually prepared your stuff
I don't know.
out of the transaction?
The price on the amount that they charge on DoorDash or any of those apps are usually higher because the company charges the restaurant a fee. So for them to balance it out, they up the price.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's why.
That makes sense.
So everybody robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Mhm.
So at the end
Maybe
of
we
the
could
day,
just do right in the first place.
at the end of
Boom.
the day, I think it's best that you just cook at home.
I was gonna say that's why you gotta cook at home.
I'm
Christy,
finna
cook us
go
up
get
with the
something right
recipes.
now.
Now we're
Honestly.
talking about eliminating people's jobs.
Automation is coming for a lot of people's necks. Automation is coming for a lot of people's necks. You seen the grocery carts?
There's a
But not only
restaurant in
that-
Lower Georgia that they have robots that roll around.
But the
Did
fact
y'all
that
see
you even have Uber Eats, like, is taking away people's jobs, because that means I'm not going to the restaurant and I can just order it. So really,
Bingo,
right
bango.
now, all you need to order is a chef. Like, all you need to have in house is the chef.
Or because a
Automation.
lot of these
That was
restaurants who used
keeping-
to do delivery, like they have regular pizza places on DoorDash and Uber Eats and stuff like that. Like Pizza Hut, for example.
Pizza Hut,
They'll
yeah.
have them on there. So I'm not calling the restaurant directly. I'm using this third party app.
Mhm.
So then the delivery drivers ain't even out, you know what I mean, for that particular restaurant. So
They don't even use delivery drivers anymore because I wanted a heart-shaped Papa John's pizza.
oh yeah.
And I ordered it right from the store. And they were like, "Oh, well, the Uber Eats guy isn't here yet."
What?
Well, then hop your ass in the car and bring me my pizza.
Hell, I didn't order Uber Eats. I ordered you.
I didn't. It's fine. You can drive me here.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any other comments, ladies?
Y'all look good.
Just to
today.
reiterate, we do appreciate
Yes.
service. It's
No,
not
we
an
do.
easy
Thank you
role.
for your service.
It's not.
It's not an easy
Thank you
task.
for your service.
Dealing with a lot of energies every day, but you still put on a face.
Yes.
Shout out to all the bartenders.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to the bartender. I like sitting at the bar. They usually be
Me too.
happy.
And I
Y'all
just,
be ready to tell
They
us your
always
whole
get a
life
good tip
stories
from
in
me.
the bar.
but y'all just
If a bartender can make up a drink, oh, you getting 25%, right? If I could be just give me some with vodka that's semi-sweet.
Bro, I had this old lady come to my bar one time. She's like, I had this cocktail at this restaurant. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna show you a picture of it. Can you make it? I was like, I mean, I can try. Man, what is this?
Not a picture.
No, Tina.
It
as
tasted
you
like
always
this.
say, you need to be muddling, you need to be shaking, you need to be stirring. I want a crafted soul cocktail.
So you're there for the performance,
the
not
show.
the
I
drink.
want a crafted soul cocktail. Now, if you're
You want a
coming with-
performance.
if you're coming with syrup guns,
Yeah, no.
I don't want it.
Right.
You
But
don't want
that's
the
how
gun.
No tip.
you can tell the people who have been in the industry for a long time because they know how to please the people. Like,
And they move.
Get the people what they
fast.
want.
They do be moving.
they move fast, they make sure you good.
Yeah.
They even if you probably like, dang, you done cheated on me about 10 times.
Alana would be a horrible waitress, but a phenomenal bartender. Okay.
I really would.
You
So
would be a
Lindsey's
great
Just show
bartender.
me how to do the shake right.
Yes.
Do it again, Lana. Do the shade.
See, look.
What is this?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
Look. When you do the shake, you have to go back and forth. It's not you gotta go.
Tried the shake and everything has
What's the difference? What's it going to do to the alcohol?
Because
inside?
look, it's physics. It needs to go from one tin to the other, so it actually has to move you don't want it to just shake around in the bottom tin. It actually needs to go back and forth in the tin.
Yes.
Sounds like a lot.
Why?
Because so it'll actually mix, and it's not just making.
But why can't I just whip it?
Why can't I
Stir
just
with a
like
spoon
this?
like I did my mojito.
Why do people?
Because
why
it
do people
doesn't
say-
taste as good.
Why do people say
Right, it
shake
don't.
and not stirred?
Because it's the difference in how much the ice melts and how dilute the drink is.
Oh.
So like when
stirring
they
is
have
the
that
one
whole,
thing.
what is that, like 007 or something? He's like martini shaken or stirred. If you shake a cocktail, it becomes more diluted than if you stir it. The ice melts.
So you was trying to dilute my mojito today by making
I was trying not to have you drinking straight rum. I mean, if you just want to put rum in the glass, do your thing, big girl. Do your
It was
thing.
a little strong.
Okay.
I was eyeballing 2 ounces and baby.
See, I can't be held responsible for that.
I didn't want to add on to the question.
You may need to start
Alex,
dropping.
because I was like, is my shot glass a 1 ounce or a 2 ounce?
Oh.
Did anybody make their own simple syrup, or did everybody just buy it?
I made it.
Oh,
made
you
it.
did. Okay.
I
I'm
was
a
literally
fan of
like,
keeping it on
Made
hand.
my
I'm
own
eyeballing
sugar.
these ounces. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay, here's the key. Even if you don't know how many ounces it is, if I tell you like 2 ounces, 1 ounce, just know it's like it's 2 parts, 1 parts. We're all math people in here, science and things. It's 2 parts to 1 part to 3/4. So you got a shot glass, do 2 shot glasses, 1 shot glass. It's just parts. It doesn't have
You
to
could be
necessarily.
like that woman talking about 2 shots of vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe 1 bottle of vodka, half a bottle of syrup, whatever floats your boat.
That's what was playing in my head, Paige.
I need a vodka drink next, y'all.
You want a vodka drink? I got you.
Yeah.
Y'all,
Rum is
I was
cute.
experimenting with gin yesterday. I might have switched sides.
Oh man.
I'm
That
telling
gin
you.
make you sin, baby. I don't want none of that. That gin make you sin.
said gin make
Oh,
you
baby.
sin.
So for the
Make that
vodka
sound
drink,
bite.
can we do a
Tianny,
variation
I
of
need
a
approval. I might take that sound bite.
Hold
for
on,
the
hold
video.
on. Go ahead, Paige. Close us out.
Well, thank you for tuning in. See you next week.
And here is our theme song.
Woo!